What is going on, Govs? It's your boy, King of Olympus, back in the building with another video. I know you guys are like, about time. Yes, it has been a minute. Well, I've been busy. But if you like Rise of Kingdom stuff, this is the place to be. I'm going to start doing a series of videos to help players figure out their way in the game. You know, if you're struggling, if you don't really know how to fit into the game or utilize the game in a way that benefits you and the kingdom, we're going to be talking about striking that balance, being an individual player and spending money but still contributing to the objectives of the kingdom. So we're going to be delving into a lot of detail about what the type of player it is and you should try to be, how to navigate challenges in the kingdom, like how to navigate your diplomacy efforts, and got to kind of give to get and get your way in and get your foot in the door as a new player in Rise of Kingdoms. So, that's kind of the stuff we're going to be talking about. So, stay tuned. But for right now, we're on a mission. And part of that mission is to try and get some altar guardians killed, because that's how you get tons of experience really fast. So, speaking of that, you got two options. You can either come over here to Commander, drop some experience tomes into them. You could do that. Or you can come and fight Altar Guardians. Now, some Altar Guardians will give you more experience than others, but typically you can click on them and it'll show you how much XP you get per Altar Guardian. In this case, we get 7,000 XP. Plus whatever the commanders ultimately give you. So if you go in here, we got 11 here, we got 12. That's because Ethelfled gives you 35% more experience when you have a secondary commander with her. That's why I've paired Khan with her, so he can get that sweet extra experience. Diao Chan gives extra experience. That's why I have Joan of Arc with her. Lohar, of course, before Mulan was introduced into the game, gave the most experience any commander in the game gives. I think it was like 80% experience. So we get 16,000 with Saladin. I'm really trying to get my Saladin in the 60, so I put him with Lohar. Boudica, she doesn't give any extra experience, but she's in here with Osman because I need my epics to get up to 62 as well. Want to show the epics some love. Maybe might have to, use them to kill a lot of barbs. So that's a thing. But yeah, little noob hack that maybe you knew that, maybe you didn't. But yeah, certain commanders give XP, extra XP, when you fight barbs and other units. So you want to get your Lohar and your Ethelfled and your Diao Chan up expertise, because again, they give extra experience when you put secondary commanders with them. Alright, so the other goal too is to find a rune that gives extra experience too, so you can get even more experience. Typically what I do is you can kill Altar Guardians twice a day. So if you do the math, there's usually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's usually 10 Altar Guardians. So that's a lot of Altar Guardians. So what you can do is you know, for my Saladin, that's 16,000 experience times 10. That's 160,000, and I usually do 4 altars twice a day. So that's 640,000 twice a day of experience, which is 1,280,000 experience I can pull down a day just killing altar guardians. And you should be able to level up any commander multiple times, at least 5, 6 times a week doing that. You could do it faster, of course, if you did more altars, but I don't really have time to do that, so I just do it this way. But, you know, you can pull down infinitely more experience than that if you were, you know, obviously you're going to need teleports or you're going to need to walk extremely far, which I don't want to do. So I just get the teleports, but you kill your alliance shop points like I have. I had like 3 million before I started doing this. Now I'm down to 616,000, which is not going to work long term, but I got to do this because I don't want to spend gems. That's another thing. You shouldn't be spending your gems. You're supposed to save your gems for the will. And you can spend and get you a command. Now you can choose. Well, after the new update, if they ever put it out, you'll be able to actually choose what commanders you want to get from the will. That's going to be pretty dope. Get some march speed real quick so we can get to these altar guardians quicker. So I want to talk a little bit briefly about some different things that you're going to encounter as a new player into Rise of Kingdoms. The game has improved a lot over the years compared to its initial iteration back when it was Rise of Civilizations. So many more features, so much more stuff, and at the same time, a lot of people have issues with the dev team, you know, about KVK, which is, you know, let's face it, the ultimate game mode in this game. It's what most people try to participate in and fight. You know, it's why you build your troops, to fight against other players and see who comes out the best. And in preparation for KVK, with that context, there are some things you should know. So, when you first land into Rise of Kingdoms, right? You first made your account. The first thing, what is the first thing that you do, right? Besides, you know, obviously you want to upgrade your buildings, you know, as fast as possible. Obviously, you want to unlock T4s as fast as possible. You want to choose a civilization that fits the early game narrative. If you want to choose a civilization, just click here. It'll tell you what your civilization is here. Just click that little button and you can scan the civilizations and see what benefits that they have to offer. If your account is a farm account, you are probably gonna have to go with China because you get I'm sorry, not China, Japan. Is it Japan or Korea? Japan. Increased gathering speed. So you get 5% increased gathering speed. If you're trying to win a mightiest governor by, you know, troop training, you might want to switch to Germany. If you're well, though, if you're a big spender, because obviously it's 10,000 gems to change your civilization. That's not cheap. So make sure when you choose your civilization initially when you get in the game, you choose a good civilization. Honestly, if you're a free-to-play, low spender, Spain is a good choice. because you get more experience from killing neutral units, and you get more resource production, which is going to go a long way. Um, you get building speed from China. So, like, if you're going to put emphasis on getting the City Hall 25 quick, you want to change to China. Hospital capacity is more of a well-ish thing. And research speed, Korea, once you get to like 25, 30 million power, you might want to switch to Korea for the research speed boost to help you get your research done, because Arabia is more for whales who do a lot of rallying. The Ottoman Empire is cool, but again, that's more for whales who do attacking and fighting, field fighting and all that. But yeah, so I'm not going to go too extensively into it, but you get the point. The other thing too, and that's really a micro optimization, but it's really an important micro optimization. The other thing too is you have to decide what type of player you're going to be. Are you going to be because here's the thing, unless you have tens of thousands of dollars to spend on this game, you have to be a niche player, all right? And you have to balance that niche with the goals and objectives of the kingdom. So, for example, you have to think about the type of player you want to be. Okay, do you want to lead an alliance? Do you want to create one from scratch? Do you want to be an alliance leader? Or do you want to be a contributor in a really strong alliance? If there's two, so those are basically your two career paths within Rise of Kingdoms. Let me talk a little bit about being an alliance leader, because for those of you who are just joining the channel or don't know, I used to run an alliance that was one of the top alliances in the kingdom, and in fact, for a brief time, I was the king. So I have a little bit of experience. I don't mean to toot my own horn or nothing, but before I came to 79, I was kind of a big deal, or at least I thought. Before I came here and met some really powerful players that just was like, yeah, I wasn't doing nothing. But yeah, I mean, I was the head of an alliance. I did run a kingdom briefly. And so I know a thing or two about running an alliance. See, first of all, going back to the subject of deciding what type of player you want to be and choosing whether you want to run an alliance, do you have the time to run an alliance? I'm going to tell you something, and I'm not joking. When you run an alliance, that's a full-time gig that doesn't pay any money. Let me say that again. If you are coming into Rise of Kingdoms and you're like, I want to run my own ish, I want to be the boss, like I want my own alliance and we're going to dominate and we're going to do this. First of all, you have to be incredibly charismatic, and you have to be a good, you have to be able to put together a team without knowing people too well, size people up, make decisions. Everything you do has to be strategic. Everything you do has to be 2 steps ahead, especially in the beginning, depending on what kingdom you're in. See, whatever your personal agenda and goals are, there's outside forces that are going to look to counteract that. Like, if you're just born into a kingdom and you're a new player, you don't know if there's going to be whales coming into this kingdom with farm accounts to try to take, I keep forgetting what this is called. Lost Temple. But yeah, I mean, then you're going to have to contend with that. That's not fun. And the thing about whales is when they send farm accounts to young kingdoms to try to take over Lost Kingdom, not Lost Kingdom, Lost Temple, you're going to have to either get down or lay down, all right? And what I mean by that is you're gonna have to either serve their purpose, get on their page, join one of their alliance, or they'll just zero you, or basically destroy your alliance. I've had that happen to me on a couple occasions. It's not fun, and you really have to have strong diplomatic skills to avoid that. Like, you're gonna have to reach out to them, maybe say, look, I'll be willing to be a farm alliance for you. I'll give you some gold, whatever. But you got to do something to, serve their purpose. You got to kind of scratch their back so they can scratch yours, so to speak. Because if you can't win that battle by brute force, which if you're not a big spender, you're not going to be able to, right? So if you're not, first of all, so going back to the original point, if you're not a big spender, don't try to become the leader of an alliance. I'm going to say that again. If you're not a big spender, don't try to become the leader of an alliance. Now, there's an asterisk with that. If you don't want to have one of the top 4 alliances that share Zone 3, but you still say, I still want to run an alliance, that's fine. You just won't be able to grow beyond a certain point, and you'll always be relegated to that. But you'll have an alliance nonetheless. I mean, it'll be less stressful because, you won't have all the responsibilities of, say, maybe running a major alliance in a kingdom, because you're always going to have to be on. You're going to have to problem solve, especially in a young kingdom. If you're in an older kingdom, you're not going to be able to start an alliance anyway, because they have everything already established the way it's going to be, and nobody's going to join your alliance because everybody's already where they're going to be at. So you're not going to be able to recruit in an alliance in an old kingdom. That's not possible. So the only way you can really start an alliance and get it off the ground is in a newer kingdom. But yeah, like I said, if you're not a max well player, I wouldn't try to go after that ambition, to be honest. I would just if you are free to play player, your emphasis should be on becoming a niche player that offers value to whatever alliance you're going to join, particularly if you're going to join a top 3 or 4 alliance in your kingdom. All right. So, before I switch to talking about how to do that, I want to talk a little bit about starting your own alliance if you choose to do that. There's a lot of things you have to manage. Okay, the name, font, who your right-hand people are going to be, how you manage holy sites, which ones you're going to take, where you're going to choose your territory, what zone you're going to be in. Well, you're going to have to start off in zone 1, of course, but how do you fight? If you can fight your way to zone 2 and 3, if you have the people with you, because you don't necessarily have to be a whale yourself. You can recruit whales to kind of, like I said, being charismatic in this game and being diplomatic goes a long way. Recruiting is not about spamming chat, join me, join me, join me, join me, join me, join me, join me. It's about winning friends and influencing people, right? If you can make friends and recruiting is not this generic, because if people don't think you care or what, if they don't see your vision, if they don't share your values or whatever, they're not going to want to join you, right? So, strike up a conversation. Hey, how's it going? How long you been playing? Blah, 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 whatever. Keep it going for a few days. Laugh, joke, talk. Then you give them hey, I got this alliance over here, we could sure use a player like you, by golly. Don't make it so obvious. That's one of the things that helped me build an alliance from scratch in a new kingdom, from 0 to 100 million in 2 weeks. which is incredibly difficult to do, but it's possible. But you got to be charismatic. So if you're a low spender, free-to-play player, and you're not charismatic and you don't feel like building relationships, don't start an alliance. Not only do you have to manage territory, but you got to figure out where to build alliance forts at, you know, which altars and sanctuaries and all that you're going to take, where's the best real estate at, because that's important. The other thing too is, you know, being able to kill higher level barbs, farm higher level resource nodes. To do that, you have to get to better zones. You got to get out of zone 1 and get to zone 2 and 3. If you're lucky, zone 3. But mostly the goal is to get out of zone 1 and comfortably into a zone 2 if you're not going to be a main alliance. Because typically in older kingdoms like my kingdom, you got the main alliances all around Lost Temple, like we have here. And then you have the farm account, their farm alliances, which are further back in zone 2. Zone 2. And then after that, it's, you know, in an older kingdom, they optimize. So you'll see the main alliance take the sanctuaries and altars in zone 1 and zone 2 as well. They'll split those. And then the ones that they don't have, they'll just leave to other alliances. Like, whatever this alliance is, I don't know who's... Oh, Go 79. Alright, they're one of the main alliances. So, yeah, this kingdom is pretty much optimized. But in your kingdom, it may not be optimized this way. So, yeah, you pick a zone, get some altars, sanctuaries, all that. Try to stay out of the way of the big folks if you don't want a target on your back. Because, you know, once you get too big... You know, the kingdom leaders, depending on if you have a dictatorship in your kingdom, they come after you and try to take your altars and sanctuaries, and they'll just steamroll you and do whatever they want anyway. So diplomacy goes a seriously long way. I can't overstate that. So if you want to start your own alliance, it looks glorious. It feels nice. It's a big ego trip thing, but don't let that be your driving motivation, because it's very hard work. There's a lot of management that goes into it. It's a full-time gig for which there is no pay. You have to settle disputes. If one of your players attacks a farmer, you gotta either zero them or kick them, or you get in trouble. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So even as the leader of an alliance, if you're not one of the top 4 alliances in the kingdom who rotate Lost Temple, you're still going to be under a lot of pressure. So let that be known as well. Alright, so now to the part of the game where we talk about becoming a contributor to the kingdom. If you know, you're like, you know what? Being an alliance leader is not for me. It's a huge pain in the arse. And, you know, honestly, I'm free to play, so I shouldn't even have no business pursuing that ambition anyway. Then this next part's for you. But by the way, you know, side note, I had tremendous ambition. And part of the reason I love this game is because of the historicity of the characters and the commanders. So it's like Julius Caesar and, you know, Alexander the Great, and all the, you think about history and all the conquering they did and trying to rule the world. Part of the reason I wanted to start my own alliance is because I wanted that. I wanted to feel that, and I did a good job. I found I was fortunate that I found really good people who had been seasoned players who had accounts in other kingdoms, and we were able to really do some serious conquering, man. I mean, it was glorious. But some whales came down, took over the kingdom, and they gave us an ultimatum. We could get down or lay down. And I was like, I'm not bowing to no one. And we went out in a blaze of glory. But yeah, that early experience taught me a lot. Sometimes you got to put your pride to the side for the greater good of your people. what did they say in Thor, in the Thor movies? One of the recurring themes is a wise king never seeks out war, but must always be ready for it. So yeah, you got to be smart about how you approach the game if you're going to lead an alliance. But that's enough about leading an alliance. We're going to talk about choosing or how to choose your role as a free-to-play player. So a lot of times people ask the wrong questions. Which commanders should I focus on? Who should I expertise? What should I do? Where should I go? What's this? How do you do that? And I'm going to tell you. You ready? Are you listening? You listening? It depends. The answer is it depends. All right? So there's essentially two types of players you can be. If you're not going to be an alliance leader, you could be someone who just is a leech and mooches off your alliance, or you can contribute. And if you don't build your account the right way, you can still contribute, but you're going to be like a third wheel, so to speak, because you're not going to have a definitive role in your alliance, and you'll just be there randomly meandering, and just not really serving any real purpose. And that's not a real good way to have your account be. So in deciding the type of player you're going to be, I would say, in deciding the type of commanders you're going to expertise and choose to get, I should say, we have to account for these considerations. And I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. So a lot of new people ask, well, which commanders do I begin to focus on to level up in expertise? Commander management in this game is very important for a lot of different reasons, not least among them is your role in your kingdom and in your alliance. So check it out, right? If you want to be a field fighter, right, which is my thing, because I don't like to have a lot of troops. I can't afford to have a lot of troops die in flags and garrisons, because I don't have that many troops. So I have to be a field fighter in KVK by default. If you want to be a field fighter, then that means you need Alexander the Great and Khan, and I'm sorry. You need Alexander the Great, Saladin, and Yi Seong-Ye. Alright. The first two commanders you should be focusing on is Alexander the Great and Yi Seong-Ye. You're going to see Yi Seong-Ye way before you see Alexander. But the first commander you should absolutely focus and put all your sculptures into is Yi Seong-Ye. He's phenomenal in every game mode, whether it's Canyon, ARP, field fighting, garrison, whatever. This is the triple OG right here. Cool, dude. Yeah, that's the triple OG right there. Yi Seong-Ye. Gotta have him. Alright. So, as you progress throughout the game, if you want to be a field fighter... Whoops. Hold on. What the heck is going on with the game mechanics? Okay. So if you want to be a field fighter, you need Alexander and Yi Seong, both maxed. I would pair them together, especially if you're a free-to-play low spender. Alexander, Yi Seong is the perfect pair. And I know what you're going to say. Ooh, he's got a skill that cares about archery. But it's only one. His other skill is garrison, and his other two skills are basically for skill damage. And he does an extraordinary AoE, more than any other commander in the game. Hits 5 targets, circular area, massive in field fighting. So Alexander Esong, perfect pair for field fighting. Alexander's going to bring the tankiness and the shielding for other players and among other benefits. So if you're going to be a field fighter as a free-to-play player, Alexander the Great, Esong Yang. The other thing is Saladin Khan. Khan secondary because Khan in and of himself. Primary is a glass cannon. When people see a Khan, they will focus him down because he's just, he's really good one-on-one, but he does no AoE. His expertise is really strong. He does a ton of skill damage. Khan Saladin is the perfect pairing. You can really wreck some stuff. Khan brings, Saladin brings the tankiness. But at later stages of the game, Genghis Khan really loses a lot of value. So yeah, if you're a field fighter, another thing you could do, and this is the best pairing in the game, Saladin William. Okay? That's what all the whales use. That's what all the people who know anything about this game. But that's not till later on down the road. But if you can, Saladin William. Alright? So you got, also, speaking of later on, Guan Alex. Or Leo Alex. Well, Alex Leo. Or Guan Leo. I'm sorry. Yeah. Guan Leo. That's the perfect field fighting pair. Leonidas is not really for free-to-play players. But if you're patient enough and you can wait, Guan Leo is amazing. Nobody else is talking about this pair, but I'll tell you about it. It's arguably the best infantry fighting pair in the field of all time. Alright? But again, Leonidas is not for free-to-play players. So, if you're free-to-play, you're just going to have to be Guan Alex. So, my advice to you as a free-to-play player is have one legitimate march with every troop type. So, your infantry troop type max march is going to be Guan Alex. Your cavalry is going to be Saladin William. Your archers, stay away. By the way, stay away from your boy Edward. Where's Edward at? Yeah, stay away from Edward. I love Edward because he does more damage than any other archer in the game. But that's where it stops. It takes him so long to fire off that skill that it's like really... Yeesh. And he's a niche commander. His role is KVK2 and wrecking stuff. He's not really, he's okay as a field commander, but it just takes him so long to fire off his skill that it's not even worth it. El Cid is not a free-to-play commander, even though he's really good. If you want an archer combo, you're gonna have to have Artemisia Ramses. Artemisia Ramses is going to be extremely tanky. Or Ramses Artemisia, however you want to do it. But Artemisia, and if you're field fighting, Artemisia Ramses, that's a really good combo. If you want to do rallying, Ramses, and none other than your boy, Esong Ye. So Ramses, Esong, free to play. So again, at this point, Guan Alex, Saladin William, and Ramses Esong. So now you got one legitimate march in all 3 troop types. That's what you want to focus on. That's my advice to everybody. So that's if you're going to be a field fighter for your alliance. If you're going to be a garrison player, you need to not worry about any of those commanders and just focus on Charles, Esong, Constantine, and maybe Wu Zetian. Wu Zetian is not a free-to-play commander, but she's really good if you can get her and expertise her. Artemisia's exceptional in Garrison, man. Like, I really had no idea how good she was until I saw some reports recently of one of our rally leaders trying to rally into a Artemisia Esong garrison. They got wrecked. And I'm talking about an 80, 90 million power player trying to rally a 60 million power player. They got wrecked. And we had to double rally this target down. I was like, geez Louise. I was like, it took me back. Because I had never seen one of my, rally captains get wrecked like that. Artemisia is really good, folks, in Garrison. If you're going to be a Garrison commander player, you need Artemisia, dude. Nobody talks about Artemisia in Garrison, but I'm telling you, she is legit. She is one of the very best archers. If you get Artemisia, you need to expertise her. Right? So, basically that's how it works. So you need, if you're going to be a garrison, if you're going to send your troops to die in flags, obviously Richard when you're earlier stages of the game. So just, focus on all the garrison commanders. And, your alliance can utilize you to play Arc and send you to all the garrisons. You got Charles and Richard and Esong and, Wu Zetian potentially, and Artemisia and Theodora and Yisong Shin and Zenobia. How can we forget about Zenobia? That would have been really newbie of me. The very best garrison commander in the game for rallying objectives, not necessarily your city. Be careful. Zenobia is okay on your wall, but she's better in garrisons. What you need to have is Theodora Yisong Shin. That's the very best. Or Zenobia, Theodora, or Theodora Zenobia. Honestly, if I was most people, I would use Artemisia Theodora. That's just me. That's just me. I'm just seriously, guys. Artemisia is boss in Garrison. So yeah, focus on those commanders if you're going to be a Garrison player, if you're going to send troops to die in flags and represent your alliance. And see, the thing is, if you're a Garrison captain, your stock in the alliance rises. Like, people consider you're like, because your alliance is going to really rely on you, right? All right, so we talked about field fighting, the commanders you need for that. We talked about Garrison, the commander, if you're going to be a field fighter, if you're going to be a Garrison captain, or, you could be a rally leader, which if you're going to be a rally leader, you're not going to be free to play, let's face it. I would even dare say if you're going to be a Garrison captain, you can't be free to play either, because you're going to need gear for these commanders too. You don't just send these commanders to, just because you unlock Theodora Yisong Shin, that's half the battle after you expertise them. First of all, you have to be max research. You have to have T5s for this to be effective. So again, free-to-play players, you're not going to see T5s for a very long time. It is what it is. Just accept it. I'm not even a T5 player, and I'm me. So, yeah. And I'm a moderate spender, not like no spend or low spender. Well, I'm a low spender now, but I used to be a moderate spender, and I still haven't been able to unlock T5. So, good luck. But yeah, you're gonna need to buy gear for these commanders too. Once you expertise them and get T5s and max all your research. And so again, if you're gonna be a garrison captain for your alliance, you must have the very best gear possible that you can get your hands on. You must have max research. You must have, but again, these are the only commanders you're going to be focusing on because you're going to be a niche player. You're just going to be garrison. That's it. So if you're a garrison captain, you're not going to field fight. Okay? If you're a field fighter, you're not going to be a garrison captain, although you may still be expected to send troops to the flag to die if you're a field fighter too. The other type and the last type we're going to talk about is a rally lead. All right. Now, obviously, there's one pair that towers over everybody else, and that's your boy Attila and Takeda. All right. That's still the meta. It's not going anywhere for a while. They don't do any skill damage, so that's remarkable to me. But what they are is incredibly tanky together. They do healing, and they are basically made for each other. Honorable mention rally if you really wanted to do it. Oh, well, no, I'm sorry. That's disrespect. But if you wanted to do an archer rally, Ramses E-Song. You could technically do Chandragupta William, but nobody likes Chandragupta. I mean, if you expertise him, he's good, but it's just there's not enough utility for him to really matter in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, I mean, you could use Cyrus E-Song. Yeah, you could use, if you're a free-to-play player, and you could get a max Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar Frederick is a good rally. For like KVK 1, 2, and 3, maybe. Med, once you expertise him, you can put him secondary with any person who cares about rallying. He does a ton of damage. Saladin Khan is a good rally, or Khan Saladin. They're interchangeable in that way. You could use Guanolix for rally, although the consensus about that is that's not a legit rally, but you could do it. You could pull it off. Alexander Harold is a legit rally if you want to be a rally captain, but obviously you're going to need Attila Takeda max with all the gear in the world. That's the primary thing. Like I said, being a garrison captain and a rally captain is not cheap, and it's going to set you back probably 10 grand, or you're going to have to be in the game for really like at least 3 to 4 years to unlock and get everything that you need to get. And even then, like I said, you got to keep your gear up to date, so you still have to spend a lot of money. But yeah, I mean, so that's basically it. So as far as the different types of players you can be, so you have to decide when you come into the game, what player do I really want to be, right? What is my focus going to be? What's my budget? If you're a free-to-play player, you have no choice really but to be a field fighter until you can work your way up to either be a rally leader or a garrison captain, and that requires spending money and T5s and max expertise commanders and max research and all that. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, and I just really made this because I had a lot of people hit me up on our Discord server with questions about different things. Which commanders do I focus on? What type of player should I be? Who should I unlock? And like I said in this video, it depends on the role that you want to fulfill. I made the mistake of 5-5-1-1-ing all my commanders and not having a particular focus, and as a result, even now, I don't have that many expertise commanders. But when I started, no one told me what to do. I didn't have any concept of how to play the game and how not to play the game. And so I spread my sculptures across a lot of commanders instead of going in on the various few commanders and having decent marches, which was ultimately a mistake. So now I'm in this weird limbo phase where I don't really have any good expertise commanders. So all I can do is field fight. And even then I get wrecked because I only have T4s, especially in Heroic Anthem. So yeah, but I had to nearly almost max my crystal research this past KVK to even stay a teeny bit competitive. And even then I still was getting wrecked. My trades were not always that great, and I had to select my battles very carefully. If you want footage of how that went, check out my video playlist. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, we're gonna be making some more guides to help you navigate this stuff. If you like Rise of Kingdoms guides that help you get value, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss out. And we